Right. Ladies, ladies. I'm even going to say it third time for emphasis. Ladies, please don't think that is your way or the highway. Now, I'm as much as we're gonna go back and forth about this. This is what men want because believe me, there are situations as my lovely wife has sat here next to me. That's why she has that grin on her face. Once they become mothers, once they become
No, I don't
matron.
think
No,
it's
no, no. Let,
mothers.
let
I
me.
just think it's
No, no.
women.
Matrons of status. Once they become that level where they start, figuring out who they are, they start implementing that thing very vehemently all over the place. Very straightforward and very like what? Wait a minute.
I don't think that that's.
Let me finish. This is what men want. See what
I
men
don't.
want. Okay, what is?
No, finish
No,
your
no, no. I
thought.
know I want you. So you can
Finish
get
your
no,
thought.
no. So you can get the comments this time. No, finish because I can see it. Come on.
This particular point where
Mm-hmm.
it's our way or the highway, I agree with totally because women, ladies, we have a way of doing things around the home. However, when we step in, into the point where we're asking him to wash the clothes and stuff like that, and he just doesn't do it the way that we tend to do it or
Okay.
make the bed, it doesn't mean that he's wrong. Um, you want to make sure that at least he's pitching in to make sure that he is now partaking of the load, sharing the load, because that's what it's about. It's about sharing the load. So what does that mean, ladies? What does that mean for us? It means that we, as a mother and as
Mm-hmm.
maybe as wives for those who are not mothers just yet, we are here to make sure that you understand that from the male's point of view, to don't go redo it. It's not about redoing it. You showing up and you're showing that you could do it better. No. So that's not what we're saying. It's not about you showing that you can do it better. It's and also compromising. So the things that you can do in that regard is to empower him more. Is to say thank you when he does these
Wow.
things. Appreciate his efforts in
Oh.
doing it. So that is a major, major thing in regards to showing your spouse that it's not your way or the highway, but it's our way. And compromising is a big key.
Now, one of the things that as I continue to expound about that, and I thank my wife for what she just said. Now, one of the things that really comes to play and comes to direct understanding in reference to dealing with this particular highway, which way are we going, which way are we not going, things of that nature. One of the things that I understand it to be and understand it to know is that sometimes what comes in reference to who's dealing with what or who's dealing with certain things in a particular way, that comes from your previous foundation. That comes from things that may have, happened from a past situation that you're trying to understand and alleviate. And one of the things that comes to mind is that there's power in understanding where it is that you came from. There's certain foundational tools like we said from the past. My wife was raised in one particular style. I was raised in a particular style. I'm not saying my way is the right way. I'm not saying her way is the wrong way, and vice versa. What it is that after a while, sometimes the conflict comes into play. Is that, as she said, there's certain things that we may get to the point that are a
Good
little
point.
bit structured, and just because someone lived in the projects has nothing to do with someone who lived in the in another point in time. So once you start to realize who and what you are and how to allow those thoughts and those viewpoints to come into play, then things will work itself out in a better form.
So one thing I want you to know is one thing we need to know is that there's nothing like just being with your spouse. But also we got to realize that there's things that we do, like what Greg said, that we tend to bring in our own regime from our old regime. But when you start dealing with your husband and wife, you guys need to start formulating your regime. What is the way that
Mm,
goes in for your household? What are the things that it goes your way and his way, and then it becomes our way? So it's not, it wasn't, so like Greg mom was a very good organizer. So Greg came into marriage with very good organizational skills.
mm.
Um, I came into the relationship with very creative skills. So we put that all together, and that's how we build our home, and that's what we teach our children. So you got to figure out what's your strengths in the relationship, and then roll with that. Because if you do not make sure that your strengths are highlighted, then it becomes an issue later on, or it could become an issue later on.
Very, very true. And one of the things that we start to see and we start to grow with in the understanding of saying that, you know what, even though I was raised in a particular household, one of the things that we tell our children all the time is that this is not her mama's household. This ain't my mama's household. This is now the Clark's household. This blended family of the Clark that does certain things in a particular way. And once our kids got to that understanding and that point of realizing that, oh, they can't just say that we're doing things in this particular way. No, this is a more evolutionary thought because in order for things to progress and to grow, there has to be evolution.
Yes.
And when people start talking about plans, and it's like there's a plan A, plan B. No, no, no. There's one plan. If you have several different plans, that means you didn't have one plan from the begin with. And when there was a plan for me and this woman to get together, there's certain things that, just like I said, peaks and valleys. There are certain things that you got to go through those rough patches. You got to go through those times where it's not necessarily a test of strength or a test of fortitude, but what it is a test. Are you really in this? Are you really in this when you hear those vows? Are you really here to understand that there are days where, just because you may digress as a man to say, you know what, I'm gonna let my wife take the lead on this. That doesn't mean that I'm giving up my authority or giving up my position. No, what it is that that shows even more that I have enough strength within my position to be like, my wife got this.
And I want to make up a good point. My husband had foot surgery about 3 weeks ago, and uh, that means that he couldn't drive for a couple of weeks, and that means that he still can't put his foot in a shoe. He has a boot. And so that means that I needed to pitch in and
Mm-hmm.
really be that person to
Very
drive.
true.
I needed to do some things that he normally couldn't do. The children needed to pitch in and shovel
True.
the snow because my husband could not shovel the snow. He couldn't go out there. So there's things that was happening that sometimes you are in the ship and sometimes you have to take the helm and sometimes you will be doing 60 and he will be doing 40. Sometimes you will be doing 70 and sometimes she will be doing 30. It depends on what's going on
Mm-hmm.
in that time. But then it can't always be your way of a highway. So you have to be able to compromise, like we said, and be able to shift and go with the waves. Because if you don't go with the waves can overtake you. And then
Woo.
this is where we come down to the fact of
Some good stuff.
number 4. Gregory is a good one to transition into.